Let's talk about one of the most brutal and honestly brilliant acts of revenge in all of history. We're getting into the story of how a queen used birds, yeah, birds, to burn a whole city to the ground. This is the Bird Queen's revenge. This whole story really boils down to one simple lesson. It's a warning, basically written in fire and ash that people have remembered for centuries. And like a lot of these stories, it all kicks off with a betrayal. Okay, so let's set the scene. The year is 945 AD. You've got this tribe, the Drevlians, who were supposed to be subjects of Kyiv. Well, they decide to brutally murder their ruler, Prince Igor. This leaves his wife, Olga, suddenly in charge, ruling as regent for their little boy. And right there, the stage is set, not just for revenge, but for what turns out to be a masterclass in how to grab and hold on to power. So the Drevlians, their first big mistake, and I mean a fatal one, was how they saw this whole situation. They look at Olga, and all they see is a grieving widow, a woman trying to rule in a really brutal time. And they think, jackpot, this is our chance. They just totally misread her. They figured she was weak, an easy target they could just steamroll. And to really cement what they thought was a sure thing, the Drevlians send a group of 20 of their absolute best men. And their proposal? Get this. They propose that Olga should marry their prince, Prince Small, who, by the way, is the guy who planned her husband's murder in the first place. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. The offer was just as insulting as it was arrogant. Yeah, saying this was a big mistake is, putting it mildly, this was a catastrophic miscalculation. See, Olga wasn't just sitting around grieving. Oh no, she was plotting. And their arrogance, it just handed her the first tools she needed for her revenge. So Olga, she greets these 20 messengers, and she's all smiles, total hospitality. She tells her people, hey, carry these important men in their boat right to my court. It's a sign of great honor. But of course, the honor was a trap. They carry them straight to this huge trench that her people dug overnight, and they're just buried alive, boat and all. Revenge Part 1, complete. Now, before word can get back about what happened to that first group, Olga quickly sends another message to the Drevlians. She asks them to send their most distinguished men this time to escort her to their prince. So this new group shows up, and she invites them to wash up in a bathhouse after their long trip. Sounds nice, right? Well, once they were all inside, her soldiers bolted the doors and lit the whole building on fire. Burying one group of diplomats alive and burning the next to death? For most rulers, that would probably be enough. But for Olga, nope. This was all just a warm-up. The real masterpiece of her revenge, the thing that would cement her name in history, was still to come. So next, Olga marches her army right to the Drevlian capital and lays siege to it for a whole year. The city is exhausted, people are starving, and then she finally sends a message. She offers peace. But her terms were a little weird. So, what on earth could she possibly be asking for? This is it. This is what she asks for. She tells the Drevlians, hey, I'm over it. I don't want any more revenge. Let's just end this. And all she wants is this tiny, almost meaningless tribute. Just 3 pigeons and 3 sparrows from every single house in the city. And this right here just shows you what a psychological genius she was. The Drevlians, they were ecstatic. After a year being starved out, this tiny tribute felt like a miracle. They're thinking, wow, what a merciful queen. She's forgiving us. They thought they were getting the deal of a lifetime. So, of course, they happily agreed and started rounding up the birds for her. That night, the Drevlians are celebrating. Peace at last. What they have no idea about is that while they're sleeping, Olga's army isn't packing up to go home. No, they're getting ready for the final and most devastating part of her plan. And here's where you see the simple, terrifying genius of it all. Olga tells her soldiers to take every single bird, tie a little piece of cloth and sulfur to its leg, and then, in the middle of the night, light that cloth on fire and let the birds go. And what do birds do? They fly home. Every single one of them, just by instinct, flew straight back to its own nest. Nests tucked away in the eaves, in the barns, in the thatched roofs of every house inside the city walls. They basically became thousands of tiny flying incendiary devices. The result was, well, it was apocalyptic. Imagine it. It wasn't one fire they had to fight. It was thousands of little fires all starting at the exact same time all over the city. The entire Drevlian capital just became one giant, inescapable inferno. It was pure chaos as the city burned to the ground. Look, this move wasn't just about winning a battle or ending a siege. It was a statement. This was total annihilation, and it was designed to make sure nobody would ever dare to mess with her or her kingdom again. You could call it statecraft through pure terror. And what happened to the survivors? Anyone who wasn't killed in the fire was captured by her soldiers waiting outside the walls and sold into slavery. Their city was gone, their leaders were dead, their people scattered. As a tribe, the Drevlians just ceased to exist. Olga had literally wiped them off the map. So, the moral of this whole chilling story? It's pretty simple, really. Through this incredibly calculated brutality, Olga of Kyiv built a reputation for being absolutely ruthless. The message she sent to everyone around was crystal clear: don't cross the queen. And that brings us right back to the beginning. Olga's story is just this timeless, brutal reminder of what can happen when you mix power, grief, and a whole lot of cleverness. The results can literally change the world. And it proves once and for all that you should never, ever underestimate a widow with a grudge.